Today, we're going to take a closer look at the really complex and ongoing crisis in the Indian state of Manipur. We'll be using some key data and reports to try and understand the human impact, the security challenges, and, well, the very difficult road ahead. So let's jump right in.
To really get a handle on what's happening, we have to start with the people. And this statement from Amnesty International, it just gets right to the heart of it. This isn't just some political squabble or a territorial issue. At its core, it's a profound human crisis. Thousands of lives have just been completely turned upside down. And that's the perspective we're going to keep in mind as we look at the facts.
So what does being displaced actually look like on the ground? Well, for tens of thousands of people, it means living day-to-day in relief camps. And this is where that huge, large-scale crisis becomes a very personal, daily struggle just to survive.
Look at this number, 84 rupees. That is the daily aid amount that the state provides for each person in these camps. Just let that sink in for a moment. That single amount is supposed to cover everything. To put that in perspective, in US dollars, we're talking about roughly $1 per day. And this quote, well, it tells you the reality behind that number. In what was a really powerful act of protest, a lot of displaced individuals actually returned the government aid. They were sending a crystal clear message. It's a statement born from pure desperation, and it just highlights the enormous gap between the support being provided and what people actually need to get by.
But the crisis isn't just contained inside the walls of those camps. Not at all. It's created this incredibly dangerous domino effect that's rippling across the entire state. And that has led to a severe breakdown in security and a near total collapse of some key parts of the economy.
First, let's talk security. Law and order are under constant threat. Even with security operations happening, militant activity just keeps on destabilizing the region. It really shows you the scale of the violence that they're still grappling with.
Now, what's really telling here is what this says about the conflict itself. We're not talking about small-scale weapons. Security forces are recovering things like foreign-made M16 rifles and grenades. This points to a very well-armed, very serious insurgency, which, as you can imagine, makes any path to peace incredibly complicated.
You know, this kind of breakdown in order, it just opens the door for all sorts of other illegal activities. Alongside the weapons, authorities recently seized brown sugar worth about 1 crore rupees. That's around 120,000 US dollars. It just goes to show how multifaceted this crisis is, with drug trafficking adding a whole other layer of instability to the mix.
The economic fallout has been absolutely devastating. I mean, just look at this. Before the crisis, tourism was a booming industry. Back in 2019, Manipur had nearly 180,000 tourists. This fiscal year, that number has just plummeted to around 17,000. That is a catastrophic blow to the local economy and to countless people's livelihoods.
Okay, so amidst this pretty grim picture, what's actually being done about it? Let's shift our focus now to the official response and the steps that authorities are trying to take to pull the state back from the brink.
The situation right now is best described as a mixed reality. On one hand, you do see some positive steps. Security operations are ongoing. The central government has approved 2 new flights to improve connectivity and has even capped the airfare on a really crucial route. But, and this is a big but, on the other hand, the core challenges are still immense. Rehabilitation is slow, the deep ethnic tensions haven't been resolved, and armed activities are continuing. So the crucial takeaway here is that while some progress is happening, it's incredibly fragile.
So where does Manipur go from here? That's the big question, right? Based on assessments of the situation, it seems like the path to any kind of lasting peace really rests on 4 crucial pillars. Think of this as the framework for recovery.
Okay, so this recovery basically rests on 4 interconnected pillars. First, the humanitarian crisis has to be addressed with proper housing and aid that goes way beyond $1 a day. Second, you have to have meaningful dialogue. It's really the only way to even begin healing those deep ethnic divides. Third, to counter that well-armed insurgency we saw, security forces have to regain control and restore order. And finally, you need a huge concerted effort to revive the economy and reverse that catastrophic collapse in sectors like tourism. And the thing is, none of these can succeed on their own. They all have to work together.
So we end with this question. The situation in Manipur is this really delicate balancing act between fragile progress and constant peril. As we've seen, the challenges are all deeply connected, from humanitarian needs to security to the economy. The path forward is going to require immense political will and a truly comprehensive strategy.
And it leaves us all to wonder, what will it really take to heal these divides and build a peace that actually lasts?